My name is Jamie Harris, and I am the founder of Satellite Gaming. Satellite Gaming is a ministry whose primary objective is to point students to Jesus Christ by building relationships through video games. There are three primary ways we do that: through our faith, through our local community, and through esports. Our hope is that throughout this series, we teach you how we do that from a logistical perspective, using video games, hosting your own tournaments, and trying to build your own local community with the resources that we provide you. All right, it's Jamie, and I'm back with another video for you. I'm going to give you the resources you need in order to host your own video game tournament. We're going to be using a website called challenge.com. So go ahead and type in this word, challenge. That's challenge with an O instead of an A. Challenge.com. There's a big orange button here that says create tournament. We're going to go ahead and click it. As you can see here, you need to have an account. So at this point, go ahead and create your challenge account. We already have one, so I'm going to get signed in. When you've signed in successfully, you'll be able to start creating your own tournament. Let's click this big orange button here that says create a tournament. Now, before you just jump in and create a tournament, you're going to need to ask yourself a few questions. How many people are you going to have? Is this going to be a casual tournament or a competitive tournament? What game are you going to play? What format are you going to use? As we create a sample tournament, I'll walk through each element with you so you can create the best tournament for you and your participants. The first thing you need to do is determine a host. If you are individually hosting the tournament, click your name. If the organization or the community you represent is hosting the tournament, go ahead and click on the name of your community. We'll say Satellite Gaming is hosting this one. For our tournament name, we're going to call it Test 2020. We're going to type in Test 2020, and this is going to give us the URL satellitegaming.challenge.com/test2020. This is great for your tournament officials and your participants to know who's up next. Lastly, we're going to write out a description. As you scroll down here, the next question you need to answer is what game are you going to play? One of the hardest parts of setting up a tournament is determining what game to play. Maybe you haven't decided that yet. Let me help you understand a couple things. The easiest games to host a tournament for would be games that have any sort of 1 versus 1 setting. The reason for that is you can run the tournament in some sort of elimination style bracket. Games that might be difficult to run tournaments for would be like battle royales or perhaps team-based multiplayer games. For simplicity's sake, we're going to choose the game called Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Let's start typing it in. As you type it in, you can see that it has a list of suggested games. Let's go ahead and select Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Now we're going to choose what type of a tournament we want. Do we want a single stage tournament or a 2-stage tournament? 2-stage tournament would mean that there are multiple brackets where certain players of each bracket continue on to a final bracket. Again, starting simple, we're going to use a single stage tournament. Then we choose what our format is: single, double elimination, round robin, Swiss, or free for all. The standard for Smash Bros is double elimination. Single elimination is another good option for Smash Bros, and if you're short on time, perhaps single elimination would be the way to go. We're going to click double elimination. This next part's a little weird. Grand Finals. What does this mean? Grand Finals is something that comes into play when you're looking at a double elimination tournament. You'll determine the winner of the winner's bracket, and you'll determine the winner of the loser's bracket. If the winner of the winner's bracket loses to the winner of the loser's bracket, that means the winner has only lost 1 game. They have to lose 2 games before they are eliminated from the tournament. That means the loser has to beat the winner twice. They call that Grand Finals. In our case, we're going to say, yeah, we want to have a bracket reset. That could mean that you're going to have a lot longer of a tournament. I may or may not suggest that based on how much time you have. For Super Smash Bros, Grand Finals is almost a must if you're having any sort of official competitive tournament. As we scroll down, we can see that Challenge provides us with a way to have a built-in registration system. If you're handling large numbers of participants, registration can be really frustrating. Using something like Challenge to funnel your participants might be a good option for you. Typically, Satellite Gaming will use something like Google Forms as a simple way of collecting people's names and information for the tournament. If you decide to use Challenge as a way of collecting participants, make sure you click Host a Sign-Up page and go through the process there. We're going to assume that you've registered for events before and you know how to collect names of your participants. Make sure you keep that list of names handy because you're going to need them for the next step. The rest of this information only matters if you are using Challenge as your platform for registering participants. We're going to skip these 2 sections and move on to our start time. Our start time is going to be tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. We can require our participants to check in, but again, that only matters if we're using Challenge as our registration platform. Challenge has a whole bunch of features you may or may not choose to utilize, but for the sake of starting a simple tournament, we're going to skip these two sections and click Save and Continue. Challenge has made this very easy for you as a tournament host. First thing, add participants. As I mentioned earlier, you should have a list of participants handy at this time, or you should start your registration process and start collecting your participants' names. As you can see here, I can type in somebody's name. I'm going to type in my name, Jamie. I type in my name and I click Add. Now, that can get a little mundane, so I'm going to add in bulk. I'm going to add 15 more people to this bracket. I've typed out 15 more names, and I've made sure that each one is on a new line. I can then click Bulk Add. Now, we have 16 participants in our bracket. Let's scroll up to the top and click on Bracket for our next step. Now that we have our bracket, you can see that Challenge has pre-seeded it for us. If tournament seeding is something that's important to you, you can see here that you can click and drag participants around the bracket as you please. We're going to go ahead and start our tournament. Now that we've started our tournament, it's time to start corresponding with our tournament participants. We need to tell Jamie and Sue that it's their turn. We need to tell John and Stan that it's their turn. I would recommend using some sort of a group chat system for this. The easiest one is probably Discord. As you can see here, we've used Discord to run our Smash Bros tournament. I would suggest having a tournament official that will tell participants when it's their turn and would encourage participants to report their scores as they compete in their tournaments. You can see here that our friend Jaxus told everyone when their turn was and then proceeded to collect scores from people after their rounds. After collecting the scores from the participants, you're going to need to communicate with the bracket which player goes on to the next round. Let's click on Report Scores here. We're going to say that Jamie got 1 point and Sue got 0 points. Verify the winner. Make sure it does indeed say the player who has the highest score and click Submit Scores. Once this is submitted, you will see here that Jamie moves on to the next round of the winner's bracket and Sue is bumped down to the loser's bracket. Let's do that for the first round and see what happens. Now that you've completed the first round of the tournament, you might realize you've made a mistake. Julie and Julia have such similar names, you didn't realize that Julie won and Julia did not. Let's go ahead and go to that match, click on this button that looks like a pencil that says Edit Scores, and switch this up. Julia actually got 0 points and Julie got 2 points. Make sure it has the accurate winner selected. Click Submit Scores. Click Submit Scores once again, and you will see that it now says Julie moves on to round 2 of winner's bracket and Julia moves down to the loser's bracket. You continue this process until you get to the very end. Remember, if at the end of the winner's bracket, the winner loses its first match, they have to lose a second match in what is called Grand Finals. That's why it says round 31 may or may not be necessary. When the tournament is complete, you'll click Finalize a Bracket, and you'll be able to share this URL with all of your friends and family so they can see how your tournament went. I know you might have a lot of questions, like, well, how do I run a Battle Royale tournament? Or how do I run a free-for-all tournament? Or a Swiss tournament? There are so many options out there for running tournaments, and I think Challenge is one of the better platforms for getting started. Satellite Gaming has experience running all sorts of tournaments, and we'd love to help you with more, but I think this gives you everything you need to at least get started with hosting your own video game tournaments. We love you guys, you're awesome, stay nerdy, and we'll see you around.